The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for listening to our show, All Aboard. I'm Don Wisman. I'm here with Dave Coots. Dave, you want to say hello to everybody?
Hey, everybody. How you guys doing tonight?
And just like the intro music says, we are not going to take it, you guys. And first thing I want to do, as always, I want to send my prayers out to all the men and women serving in the military. And I want to say thank you to all of our country's veterans. And Dave, that includes you too, by the way. Thank you, Dave, for your service to our country. I'm sincere when I'm saying it, Dave, really.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it, brother.
Well, I mean, I think a big thank you goes away to the veteran, a long ways with the veterans. I mean, just thank you. I mean, a lot of people don't say that anymore, and I do. Every veteran I see, I tell them thanks, and I mean it. But anyway, to get going here, if you support Donald Trump and you consider yourself a patriot, please join our Facebook group. That's called Trump 2020 ! Just don't forget the exclamation point, because there's 4 or 5 Trump 2020s, but we're the only one that has the exclamation point. And I've got a few patriotic quotes. We always do this before we get the show going. There are a couple short ones, but I'll read them. The first one, if we love our country, we should also love our countrymen. That was said by Ronald Reagan. I don't know if you ever heard that one, Dave.
I have.
All right, I got one more small one here. Let's see if you can guess who wrote this one or who said this. Real patriotism is a willingness to challenge the government when it's wrong. Can you guess who wrote that or said that?
I don't know who said that one.
You really like his son. That was Ron Paul.
Oh, okay.
It's true, though. I mean, real patriotism is the willingness to challenge the government when it's wrong. Because, Dave, the government can be wrong. Trust me.
Oh, the government usually is wrong.
Oh, yeah. And another little thing I've been doing here lately, Dave, and you know, this day in history, June the 5th, 1967, on June the 5th, the Six-Day War begins between Israel and the neighboring Arab states of Egypt, Jordan, and Syria. You remember that one, don't you, Dave? I know it's before we was born, but the Six-Day War with Israel.
I do remember reading about the Six-Day War.
Okay, well, that happened on this day back in 1976. Tonight, Dave, the first thing I'd like to talk about is something that happened right here at home and right here in my hometown of Franklin, where I live. You just live a couple miles out of Franklin. I'd like to tell everybody about our Robert E. Lee Road Marker Monument, whatever you want to call it. And you guys, I guess I should start from the beginning, shouldn't I, Dave, since anybody's on here don't know about what happened?
Yep.
Okay, well, anyway, last year, I don't know what month it was last summer. I think it was July, August. Do you remember what month it was they took it down?
I don't. It was hot. I know that.
It was hotter than crap out, but I guess some Antifa members or Black Lives Matter members found out that the little town of Franklin here had a road marker, monument, whatever. It's a big, big rock with a plaque on it. You know, it's got a picture of Robert E. Lee, and it says some stuff on it. But they found out, and actually, this road marker is the furthest one north of the Mason-Dixon line. It's the furthest Robert E. Lee marker in northern America, actually. And the city went in last year. They took it down in the middle of the night. You know, you remember when all the cities around the country were taking down all the Confederate statues, right? Remember that, Dave?
Oh, yeah.
Well, anyway, you know this, Dave. I don't know why I'm asking you, but our road marker monument of Robert E. Lee is put back up. It's in a different location. But the thing is it made history. It made American history. This little town right here, Franklin, Ohio, it's like Mayberry. It's just small town USA. We set an example for the rest of the country. And I hope that the rest of the country follows suit what Franklin did. I mean, Dave, we really did. It made history by putting that monument back up, and I hope they do.
Yeah, it really did. And Donald, before we go any further, not changing the subject,
Go ahead.
I'll touch base on it. I want to send prayers out to everybody affected by the volcanoes in Hawaii and Guatemala.
Thank you. Yes, I forgot all about that. I think that the Hawaiian volcano hit like damaged like hundreds of homes last night.
Yeah,
didn't it?
it's getting bad out there. But yeah, it definitely made history. It was, as far as I know, it's the first marker monument to be put back up in the country. And that's the thing, guys. That just goes to show you what can happen when people come together as a community and they say, you know what, our voice will be heard. We won't go silently into the night. We're not going to sit down and let you railroad us. We, the people, have the power.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And you know, Dave, I went up there and I made a video showing that monument road marker. They call it a road marker. I call it a monument. It's a big old, I call it, I'm going to call it a monument, okay? They call it a road marker, but I went up there and I did a video, and I got a lot of flack from a lot of people, and people were saying that Robert E. Lee was a traitor to the country, and that I was a racist because it's a Confederate monument. Dave, it's not being a racist, wanting monuments back up like that. Robert E. Lee, to me, Dave, he wasn't a traitor. You know what Robert E. Lee was to me? He was an American. It's the same as Ulysses S. Grant. Ulysses S. Grant was an American. And Robert E. Lee was far from being a traitor, Dave.
Well, and I agree. And I mean, we've touched base on this a lot before.
Yes, we have.
What it is today, people look at the federal government a lot differently than they did back in those days. And back in those days, a man's loyalty lied with his state, because ultimately the federal government played a very limited role in their lives. So a man was loyal to his state. Robert E. Lee was a patriot and a true American. You know, then to think that the Civil War was fought strictly over slavery is ridiculous as well. It wasn't just about slavery. The North owned more slaves than the South did. If you look at that, the first slaves that came to America were owned by a black man from New York City. It wasn't just about slavery. Not only that, but after the Civil War, Robert E. Lee played a vital part in getting the Southern rebels to lay down their arms, and in the what did they call it, Donald?
Reconstruction of America, maybe?
The Reconstruction of America. He played a very, very vital role in that. So to say that, you know, he was a traitor, it's just, they don't know what they're talking about. He didn't go against his country. You know, he went with his state.
Loyal.
He loved his country. He freed his slaves before the Civil War even started. His wife, who was George Washington's granddaughter or great-granddaughter, I believe it was, actually taught their slaves to read and write, which at the time was against the law. So to say, you know, people are going to have their opinion, and we're not going to be able to change that. But, you know, do some research. Look this stuff up, guys.
Yeah, it doesn't make you a racist because you want to preserve history. I mean, and I'm glad you brought that up, that the Civil War just wasn't fought over slaves. There was many reasons. That was one of the reasons, but there was many other reasons why that Civil War was fought. And I'm not sitting here saying that I agree with slavery. That was a bad war for America. That was a bad time for America. But our grandchildren, they need to know the bad things that happen in this country, so we don't repeat it again in the future. And for somebody to sit there and say you're racist because you want to save a piece of history, that's asinine. That's hogwash, Dave.
It is. Here's the thing. You know that old saying: if we forget history, we're condemned to repeat it. You know that if we take away our history, that's part of who we are, the good and the bad. It's what it made our country what it is today. You can't take that away and pretend that it didn't happen. You know, if somebody's that easily offended today, then they really need to take a long, hard look in the mirror, because they're going to have a very hard life. You know, life isn't easy. You have to work. You know, if you're that easily offended, you really need to look in the mirror and toughen up.
Oh, you do, and you said that Robert E. Lee was loyal to his state, and we're gonna talk more about that, Dave, because you've taught me a lot here in the last few months about the states' rights, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But I did another live Facebook video a couple days ago about preserving our freedoms, and this guy commented back, and he was saying he was basically talking about the Electoral College. He said that they want to get rid of that, and he thinks that the majority should rule. But hey, wait a minute. That's our 12th Amendment, Dave. That's what I was talking about, preserving our freedoms right there. And if you go in there and you want to take away the Electoral College, something that our founding fathers brought up, I think they might not have put that one in until after the Civil War. I don't remember exactly, but still, it's part of our Constitution, and our Constitution is the glue that holds this country together. And this guy, almost saying that he was saying majority should rule. Now, I guarantee you, Dave, if Hillary Clinton would have won the Electoral College vote, nobody would have been talking about that. They wouldn't even mention the Electoral College.
You wouldn't have heard anything if she'd have won. But here's the thing is, we don't live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. And that's what people need, that's what they forget. And what they need to understand is a lot of people don't even know the difference. Living in a constitutional republic gives the individual certain rights. Living in a democracy, if the people voted that they wanted something from you, they could take it. We do not live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. There's a big difference.
What did you say about your bike earlier? You said something about your bike.
Well, it's just like if you have a bicycle. Under a constitutional republic, you have individual rights. Under a democracy, if three people say voted they want your bike, you're giving up your bike. That's why our founding fathers created our government and our Constitution the way that they did.
Now, let's talk about the Electoral College just for a minute before we get off this subject. It's important to me, this Electoral College, because it's just part of remnants of our old republic. I know we live in a constitutional republic, but a lot of people really believe we're in a democracy, but that's a remnant left from our republic. And Dave, this Electoral College, that gave the little states with small populations, that gave them a voice in the presidential elections, and people don't understand. I think a lot of people out there don't understand that, man.
Well, not only that, but look at our last presidential election. Okay, there's ups and downs. Did Hillary win the popular vote? Didn't she win the popular vote? But the thing is,
well, did she? We don't really know.
Well, here's the thing, though. Trump carried over 90%, 90 or 95% of every county in the United States, except for the libtard, the libtard states: California, New York, Illinois, Chicago,
blue states,
the blue states, and those are highly populated areas. So in reality, if we went to a majority, those states could dictate policy and it not be the will of 90% of the country, and it's ridiculous.
I love that answer. I love what you just said there, but Dave, daggone well that there's a lot of people in this country right now, they take our freedoms for granted. It's just like you be at home and a thunderstorm comes roll over and lightning strikes your pole. All right, we actually take electricity for granted. When you hit that light switch, you expect that light to come on. But when it doesn't come on, you'll worry about it then. And I'll tell you what, like I said in that video that I made, if one day, Dave, think about this. It may not be 2020. I hope Trump wins that. But one day, if we put enough people, the wrong people in the House, we put the wrong people in the Senate, and we put a wrong person in that Oval Office, Commander-in-Chief, the leader of the free world, Dave, our freedoms could be taken from us. And they will miss them. And the people who don't go vote, they'll be the first ones to complain, buddy.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And it goes back to that old adage. Wasn't Ronald Reagan that said freedom was never more than one generation away from extinction? And if you look, I never knew how true those words were until the last 2, 3, 4 years. When you look at the direction that our country is going, it's shameful. It hurts my soul to see the way that our country is turning. I mean, it's just, what do you do? I mean, people, you've got to get involved. You've got to get out. You've got to vote. You've got to get energized. You've got to be involved in your communities. You can make a difference. We have to start.
And if she was out there listening, yes, we need that red lava wave that she keeps talking about. We need to do what Trump did in 2016. We need to break down more blue walls in 2020 and the upcoming midterm election this year.
Well, and I've said it before, we need to energize the Conservative Party, we need to energize the independent vote, we need to bring them over, because if you look at the things that this man has done, he's kept campaign promises, everything that he said that he's wanted to do, he has actually tried to do, and he's been fought at every turn, which takes us back to why we can never have a democracy.
I'm tired of it.
In a democracy, it's mob rules. In a constitutional republic, each individual has their rights.
Well said. And before we go any further, Dave, you brought up what Trump's been doing. I'm going to tell you a few things here, but before I get too far into the show, my youngest daughter just had her birthday on June 3rd of this month, just a couple days ago, June 3rd, and I want to tell her happy birthday on the radio show. And my oldest daughter, Dave, tomorrow is her birthday. It's really easy to remember her birthday because it's June 6th. That's D-Day, the day we liberated. We went into Normandy, France, and she's going to be, I forget who she's going to be. That's
28.
terrible. 28. Thank you. But happy birthday, Ashley. I know she's out there listening, and happy birthday, Samantha. That's my two daughters. I just wanted to get that out there. But now let's get back to Mr. Trump. Now, you mentioned what a good job he's doing, and and everybody's been dogging him. Trump can't get a fair shake. Anything he does, people are always dogging him. But I'll tell you right now, the United States added 223,000 jobs in the month of May. Unemployment rate at 38%. And
3.8%. 3.8.
Oh, was it 3.8? I'm sorry, I didn't even see the point there. You're right. Thanks, Dave, for reminding me of that. But I mean, that's wonderful. I mean, he added 223,000 jobs in our country. Unemployment rate at 3.8%. Dave, that's almost non-existent. I mean, unemployment's almost gone now compared to what it used to be.
What people fail to realize is, here's the thing: when you lower taxes, when you deregulate our government, and you make it easier for businesses to thrive, you make it easier for businesses to expand, you make it easier for businesses to reinvest their money back into themselves and into the community, and you make it easier for them to grow. That some people say trickle down economics doesn't work. But I mean, here's the thing: if those businesses are growing and they're thriving, then they're going to hire more people. They're going to grow. They're going to put more people in the workforce.
Well, he did say he would create so many jobs. We would come up and say, "Hey, Mr. Trump, we got too many jobs." And another thing that Trump said, he said he expects major drug companies to slash prices on their products in the next 2 weeks. And more good news. I got more good news. The unemployment rate for black workers hit a new record low in May. That's true. I'm telling you, this president is doing his job.
Wait a minute, Donald. You know our president's a racist, so how can that be? How can that be?
You're right. To everybody, the liberals out there, he is a racist, and we're all Nazis, and we're racist for voting for him. That's another thing I'm getting tired of.
Or he's going to be impeached because of Russian collusion, right?
Oh, we'll get into that in a minute. I've got something about that one. But anyway, can you believe, honestly, that Bill Clinton, now this is Bill Clinton, this is what he said. He said impeachment hearings would already be underway if a Democrat was in the White House. And he was talking about all the facts that are present with the Russian investigation. And I'll tell you, the only facts about this investigation is what our president tweeted. He tweeted an outrage last Friday morning, writing, he said, Associated Press has just reported that the Russian hoax investigation has now cost our government over $17 million and going up fast. No collusions except by the Democrats. Now, that's what Robert Mueller and this Russian collusion thing has costed. $17 million and going up fast. Now, that's a crock of crap.
Well, not only that, but if you look at what they're doing now, it started with Russian collusion. Now they're just expanding their net. They're just trying to broaden what their focus, just trying to find anything that they can throw on the wall and make stick. It's ridiculous.
I don't think it's working. Yeah, what did you tell a guy today? You said, get off the CNN bandwagon. Is that what you said?
Yeah, get off, please stop watching the fake news bandwagon. It's ridiculous. Here's the thing. These guys have fought this man at every turn, okay? But the American people are tired of it. We are tired of hearing about it. There was no Russian collusion by that president. And if there was, you know what? I really don't care. Look at what he's doing for the country. Look at what he's doing. Imagine what would happen if Hillary would have become president.
Well, we would have probably we would have been into our second Civil War. That's my belief. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I think we would already been into the middle of our second Civil War, Dave. I really do.
I believe you. I believe you're right.
I'm not trying to go out there like make people think I'm crazy or nothing, but we might have been at war with Russia right now. I think they hated the lady. I really do. She was weak. She was horrible. She's a liar.
Do you blame them? I guess my thing is, do you blame them?
I mean, and if they said Russian collusion, I mean, if Russia had a pick, they would have probably rather had Hillary Clinton as president than Donald Trump. I mean, think about it. Why would they want a strong leader when they could have had a weak leader? You know what I mean? I don't get this whole Russian collusion thing. I don't really get it.
Well, it's crazy. If she'd have won, and there's lots of things that are coming to light on their side that the media are sweeping under the rug. I mean, if you look, we found out that they had FBI informants in the Trump campaign.
Yes.
If you look at some of the things that they done, illegal wiretaps. But here's the thing. Once again, it goes back to the show that we had last week. They hold us conservatives to a higher standard than they hold themselves, and it's ridiculous. Now, Bill Clinton was actually. I'm
just laughing. I can't believe he would say that. About being impeached. Look what he did.
Well, not only that, but he said something about the hashtag Me Too movement. I'm like, are you really kidding me? You talking about an oxymoron?
Well. Ex-President Obama, he just won't let things go neither. Shouldn't he be off somewhere and let Trump govern? So ain't that the courtesy you're supposed to give to your predecessor, is to let him govern and keep your mouth shut? Obama just won't keep his mouth shut, Dave. They're coming out with some stupid series on Netflix, The Obamas. That's what show I will be watching.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm canceling my Netflix subscription. I have no desire to pay for anybody that wants to produce that crap. It's ridiculous. He's an ex-president. Go back into the woodwork where you belong. You've done nothing for the last 8 years but weaken our country, divide the nation, make us a laughingstock around the world. You give Iran $100 and some billion in cash flown in on a plane. It's ridiculous.
Don't forget the uranium, Dave. Don't forget the uranium they gave them.
Hillary give the Russians uranium. Oh, let's just go ahead and make all of our enemies stronger. That makes real sense, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now they're dogging a man that's trying to fix the mess that they put us in. That's what Trump is trying to do. He has been trying to fix the mess that he inherited. I feel sorry for the guy. I know he's not poor, but Dave, he inherited a mess. He did.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, and it's pathetic. It really is. It pisses me off that people.
Go ahead. I was going to ask you something here. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I got to ask you this, Dave. I want to know what you think about this. For the second year running now, President Trump's White House has refused to acknowledge the LGBT Pride Month, which runs for the whole month of June. Now, Obama, he acknowledged this every year, every month of June. He acknowledged this at the White House. President Trump has not been acknowledging this, and he's getting a lot of heat from the LGBT community. Now, I'll let you say what you want to say about it, and then I'll tell you how I feel about it. Probably the same.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it. I love it. Here's this pisses me off. Why is it that every group around us feels that they need to be entitled and empowered to have a month of this and a month of that? If you want to be a homosexual, if you want to be a transgender, if you want to be a pansexual, whatever it is that you want to be, that is your business. That's not mine. What I do in the confines of my house is my business. I don't need to put it out in public and have a month of it. Okay? If you're a homosexual, great. Be a homosexual. That's not my place to judge you. That's between you and the good Lord up above. And someday you'll be judged for that. But it's not my place to judge you. But it's not your place to shove a whole month of it in my face. Why is it that you feel you need to be entitled to a whole month of anything? Get off. Life doesn't work that way. Life is hard. Life knocks you down. When it does, you dust yourself off, you get back up, you move forward. It knocks you down again, and you do it again. You don't get, oh, well, look at me. I'm gay. I'm entitled. I get a whole month to myself so I can bring awareness to gay. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're transgender. I don't care what you are. Ultimately, that's your business, not mine. But don't think that you need to parade it in my face.
Wow. I don't think I could even have a comeback. I think you said pretty much everything and more than I would have said. That was a good answer, Dave. Really, it was. I mean, it'd be like heterosexuals. Oh, let's get on to Trump because he don't have a heterosexual month. Let's call it August. Let's have a month for heterosexuals in August. Yeah, and Dave, I agree with you. I don't judge anybody for being gay, bisexual, or whatever. I mean, they keep adding on to this. This LGBT. I mean, before we know it, it's going to be 8 letters. I don't know what's going on. X, Y, J. I don't know.
It's ridiculous. I mean, and here's the thing. In this country, every person in this country is entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Hey, I've got that written down, brother. You're going to hear it tonight.
If your sexual orientation makes you one of those, whatever it makes you, that ultimately is your business. But when you try to parade it in public, okay, then it becomes distasteful. I don't, I'm a heterosexual male. I don't parade it in public.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You don't push your heterosexual on other people, do you?
You don't see me in the mall making out, like the gay people do. And here's the thing: if you're so sensitive about that stuff that if a cake baker doesn't want to bake your cake because it goes against their religious beliefs, that you take them to court, why not just go down the road to another cake baker?
Oh my God!
We live in a country that's based on capitalism. So what'll happen is if enough people say, "Hey, I don't want to go to that cake baker," then they're going to go out of business. But instead, we've got these snowflakes they feel so entitled that what they want to do is they want to sue everybody. Why is it that your sexual orientation trumps my religious beliefs? Why can't you respect my religious beliefs the same way that I respect your sexual orientation? I respectfully bow out of baking your cake at your wedding. If you want to come in on your anniversary and whatever, I can make that, but I don't want to be involved in the union because if it goes against my religious beliefs. I respect your union, but you don't want to respect my religious beliefs. It goes back to the whole democratic libtard philosophy of
God, it's craziness. Well, Dave, it's almost like I said last week.
If they do it, it's.
I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you? I'm sorry. if I did. I mean,
No. Go ahead.
but it's
you're
almost like we've been doing this long enough now. It's almost like you know what I'm getting ready to say, because my next card, I write down cue cards just as a reminder. But the Supreme Court did rule in favor of that Colorado baker. You know that. That refused. Dave, the thing is,
No, I
don't think
actually
it should have made it. I don't think it should have made it to the Supreme Court. It said something like that. He had a right not to bake that cake. He owned his business. That's his rights. What do you feel about that?
Here's the thing. That's the great part about living in a country that that's based on capitalism. There's always some. If I don't want to provide a service for you, Donald, I have two businesses.
Right.
I have a trucking company, and I have a self defense business. Okay, a security solutions business. So, say in my security solutions business, I didn't want to train somebody that I felt was mentally unstable.
Right.
Okay? Does that give them the right to sue me?
And take you to court, yes.
And take me to court? But here's the thing. I can promise you this. If I don't want to train that individual, I can promise you there's 50 guys down the road that are going to, and the only thing that they're worried about is taking their money.
Well, and they wanted to make news, I think, too, Dave. They just wanted to make a big deal of it. You know what I mean? Let's make a big deal of this. Go down the road and have a cake made. Yes.
Exactly. My thing is, if I'm having a joyful union, and I'm getting married, and it's supposed to be a joyous time, do I really want to involve somebody that doesn't want to be a part of it? It has nothing to do with sexual orientation. Your sexual orientation ultimately is between you and the good Lord up above. It has something to do with, just respect each other. If you don't want to bake the cake, don't bake the cake. There's plenty of cake bakers that'll do it. And if gays want to get married, get married. If you want to be a transgender and you want to become a man or a woman, that's up to you. I go back to my philosophy, though. It's kind of a joke. It's a joke, guys. But just remember, it's easier to dig a hole than build a pole.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, but well said again, Dave. I mean, you're a great host. I love having you on here, but here's something else funny for you, and I know you're going to make fun of this one. They said that allies of Hillary Clinton say they could see themselves supporting Senator Elizabeth Warren for president in 2020. Can you actually believe that, Dave?
That's funny. That's a joke.
Elizabeth Warren, like they said about Trump, just do it, run.
Please run, Pocahontas, run. I mean,
he would burn her alive, Dave. He would eat her alive.
It's ridiculous. It goes back to let's find a woman. They're pushing a woman because the left is pushing a woman for president so hard. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're a man, if you're a woman. It doesn't matter what your race, creed, religion is. If you're qualified for the job, I'm telling you right now, Pocahontas is not qualified for the job.
Oh, God. But anyway, you remember the former Speaker of the House, John Boehner? He was from Ohio, about 20 miles. His office was about 20 miles from our house. You remember him, John Boehner?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he was asked a question at a conference, what's going on with the Republican Party? And Boehner said, there is no Republican Party. There's a Trump Party. The Republican Party is kind of taking a nap. I don't understand what he's talking about there. I really don't get it.
Well, here's the thing. It goes back to all those Republicans that are against Trump. The established Republicans. If you look at how long Boehner was in office, if you look at how long McConnell has been in office, if you look at how long McCain has been in office, these are establishment Republicans. These people have no business in that office anymore. One of the best things that we could ever do as a country is put term limits on our congressmen and our senators, because what happens is, and I've said it time and time again, the sport coat that they put on might as well have a billboard for the people that have stuck money in their pockets, that have given them vacations, that have done this for their family, that have hired their son into a six-figure income. It's ridiculous. Their son, what happens is, When you've been up there for that long, you get so corrupted, you become part of the establishment. We do not need establishment Republicans. We need new blood, fresh ideas. Let's get some term limits in. Let's get them in there and get them out.
Time. People get bowled out over time, Dave. But I don't know if you know this, but last week while we were doing our show, President Trump was giving a speech. I think he was in Nashville, Tennessee, exactly when we was doing our show. And I got a clip here, Dave. I want to play for you. Then I want your response to this clip of President Trump. Do you mind if I play it for you?
No, go ahead.
All right, let me set it up here. Just a little clip. Let me get him going here.
In the end, Mexico's going to pay for the wall. I'm just telling you. All right? I don't want to cause any problem. But in the end, Mexico's paying for the wall. They make all of this money, and they do absolutely nothing to stop people from going through Mexico, from Honduras and all these other countries, the caravan, all of this stuff. They do nothing to help us. Nothing. They're going to pay for the wall, and they're going to enjoy it, okay? They're going to enjoy it.
But anyway, that was all I had. That stood out for me, Dave, because their president down in Mexico, Enrique Nieto, I believe that's his name, he said they're not going to pay for the wall, Dave. Can Trump make them pay for that wall?
Well, he can make them pay for it in several different ways. And honestly, I think, the first one, I think the best option for it is he's gonna take a page out of Obama's playbook and fund the border wall using a trade vehicle. And I think it's going to be because he's going to renegotiate NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. And I think what's going to happen is he's going to put pressure on these guys because Mexico, they can talk big however they want to talk, but ultimately their economy depends on us. If you look at how much money the illegals, not even the illegals, but the immigrants that come here, if you look at how much money that they put back into that country.
Oh, they send it all home, don't they, Dave, when they work here?
They send it all home. So if you look at that.
And the drug money,
If you look at the drug money, I mean, if you look at all of that, ultimately, though, I think he's going to get them to pay for it by renegotiating NAFTA. I mean, is he going to put higher tariffs on them? Maybe. Or he could say, hey, if you're either going to pay for this wall because ultimately, they're coming from your country. So if you can't stop that flow, if your security is so bad that it can't stop the flow of immigrants into our country, that's on you. You're either going to pay for it or we're going to slap you with a 25% tariff on everything that you import to our country. And if they do something like that, it's going to hurt them bad.
Do you agree with President Trump when he says they do nothing to help us? And they don't, Dave.
No, they encourage it. They encourage illegal immigration. They encourage all of that. It's pathetic. We need the wall bad. Build it tall, build it deep, build it wide. Let's stop illegal immigration. I don't even think we should talk about a DACA deal.
No.
We shouldn't even worry about DACA until the wall is built. Because I know that, the Director of Homeland said that if we reach a DACA deal, that it could increase immigration. The surge.
Yes. Thank you, Dave, for bringing that up. Thank you.
So
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but thank you.
So what we need to do is we need to take care of the wall first. We need to secure our southern border, and then we can worry about DACA. We can worry about the illegals that we already have in the country. But why even worry about a fix, of immigration until we've solved the problem in the first place, which is them coming across the border. Build the wall first. Stop the flow of illegals that are coming in, and then let's worry about the ones that we have here already. That's what we need to do.
Let's worry about Americans too, Dave. It seems like every picture I see of any little border fence, whatever they got down there, and I'm not trying to sound mean or nothing, but they almost look like animals crossing this wall, Dave. It's downright horrible, and I'm somebody's calling in right now, but I'm not going to take calls tonight because we got a lot to talk about, okay? I'm sorry, you guys, but Dave, we forgot to tell everybody, if they want to make some comments tonight, just tonight I'm not going to take calls because we got a lot to talk about, but there is a group Dave's monitoring right now. It's called All Aboard with Don and Dave. We got the group. We've told everybody about it. Dave's watching that group, so make your comments, and Dave will bring it up on there. But Dave, Dick's Sporting Goods, they announced that they're suffering losses right now because of what they did. About gun control and all of this. So now they're complaining that their sales are down, Dave. Poor old dicks. Ain't that a shame?
Oh, that just breaks my heart.
I knew you was gonna say that, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
But it all goes back to our economy. Donald, living in a country that's based on capitalism. If Dick's chooses to implement the store policies that they've implemented, then they have to live with the consequences of the consumer.
All right, well, we're getting all kinds of calls, Dave, here, but I can't take any tonight. I'm sorry, everybody out there listening, but this is just one night. We don't have much time left. It's 8:44. But Dave, our president, I know you know this, but I want to know what you think about it. He disinvited the Philadelphia Eagles to the White House. That's what I read the first story. Now things are changing. What do you think about that?
Well, we've talked about this earlier. I don't care that he disinvited them, or if he did invite them, I don't think they should be there in the first place. They want a football game. Big whoopee-doo. If you're going to invite somebody to the White House, invite a combat veteran, invite a Medal of Honor winner, invite somebody that done something productive in society. They just played a football game. I don't know if they want it. It's a game. I could care less. Invite somebody that means something. That just goes back to them taking a knee. Oh, it's their right to take a knee. It's not their right to take a knee when they're on company time. You want to take a knee on your own time. If you think about this, if you're an American somewhere and you think it's your right to take a knee, when you go punch that clock, go ahead and take a knee on your employer's time and tell them you're protesting something and see what happens. Your butt's going to get canned.
And Dave, I hate to go back to this immigration thing, but on Friday, House Democrat leaders they pressed the Trump administration to end the separation of migrant families at the U.S.-Mexican border, warning the practice is unnecessarily inflicting trauma on innocent children while ignoring the roots of the problem. You know what, Dave? That's not our problem. I blame the parents. Don't bring your kids to that border if you think you're going to get separated. And one more thing, Dave, then you can elaborate on this. And just this morning, the United Nations, some kind of human rights office, urged the Trump administration to put an end to its policy of separating families that cross the border illegally. And Dave, the key word right there, they said it themselves, illegally. This is our country. We don't need the United Nations telling us to let people in our country illegally. We got laws for that, man. Now that kind of crap just burns my butt. It really does, man.
Oh, it does me too, and it pisses me off because here's the thing, Donald. We have talked about this before,
yes,
too.
Yes, we have.
Do you think for 1 minute that the United Nations, that the Democrats would care if I committed a crime and they put me in jail and separated me from my family?
No, and you got a big family. They wouldn't care about your rights being pulled away from your family, but don't do that now if you're coming here illegally. Now, you're already a U.S. citizen. You was born and raised in this country, but they don't care about ripping you away from your family, do they, Dave?
No, they don't.
If you break the law. If you break the law, and that is breaking the law by coming here illegally.
Exactly, and what happens is when that family chooses to leave from wherever they left from, they know the consequences of when they get here. If you get here and you get caught, you could be separated. So my thing is, why come in the first place? If you're coming illegally and you're not coming the right way, then don't come here at all. That's the problem. That's why we need this wall. Instead of the United Nations running their mouth, and by the way, who cares anything about what the United Nations has to say? Because they're a joke anyway.
They need us more than we need them, don't they?
Well, exactly. And I think, it's a joke. That is nothing more than a big joke. We need to pull out and say, you know what? Screw you. We're paying for the biggest chunk of this, and we're done. So then nobody cares what they say. But if I know that I'm willingly breaking the law, and that if I'm caught, there's repercussions, then I take the responsibility of that when I do it. And if I'm pulled away from my family, ultimately, that's on me. That's not on the government because I broke the law. They abided by the law. I'm the one that chose to break the law to begin with. So the repercussion is now I have to be punished. So I knew that going into it.
I struck a chord with you. I knew I'd get you fired up on that one. I knew I would. I knew how you felt about that before I even told you that. But it is true, Dave. You are an American citizen, but they don't care about pulling you away from your family, do they? But it's okay now to worry about, and they even said, illegal. They even said it, the UN did. Like, I'm like you. UN, get the heck out of our country. I don't think we need them, Dave. We don't need the United Nations. We're the superpower of this world. We're the greatest nation in this country. They need us more than we need them. I'm tired of United Nations. I'm tired of them.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. We that costs us a lot of money. The rest of these nations that are involved in it need to step up.
Well, I'm going to bring this up, Dave. I think we're down to 10 minutes, but this may take just a little minute. But there was this video that was going around. I think I sent it to you. This guy was going around on Memorial Day, and all these people, they didn't know the meaning of Memorial Day. I couldn't believe it. Now we got the 4th of July coming up, Dave, and I know there's many reasons why there's people out there that don't know the reason, probably why we celebrate Independence Day. I guarantee you they are. And I just want to read what reasons did the Founding Fathers give for their decision to write out a declaration. Now you can say something after this, because I know there's more reasons, but I'm going to give you one. The Founding Fathers wrote in their Declaration of Independence from England that the basis of the document is their belief that all men are created equal, and that each man is granted by God a set of inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The purpose of government, they wrote, that's our Founding Fathers, is to protect these rights. And such a government can only maintain power when it has the consent of the governed. That's us. In other words, then the British government no longer had the consent of the colonies it governed, because it did not do a sufficient job of safeguarding these inalienable rights. And this is one major reason that the Founding Fathers wrote the Declaration of Independence. Now, I know you got other reasons, Dave.
Well, sure. I mean, it was taxation without representation. I mean, there was a lot of reasons that we decided to split from the crown. If you have to think about it, back in those days, the crown, England was the most powerful country in the world. So to do that, our Founding Fathers, that wasn't a decision that they took lightly.
Well, I hope I read that right. I hope it made sense to you what I read there. I had to read that because I couldn't remember all that. But
it did. Hey, Chris Fitzwater commented on the All Aboard page. He said that I believe the state of Illinois, they're making the residents turn in their guns now, and if they don't, it's a $1,000 fine. I'm gonna comment on that right quick.
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
Chris, that is a township. It's just a small township in Illinois. I think it's Dearborn Township, and they're trying to make them turn in their assault weapons or face a $1,000 a day fine. As of right now, the deadline is approaching, but I do know that people are challenging it in court. So we don't know what's going to happen with that yet. I can tell you this: if I lived in Dearborn, I think it's Dearborn, Illinois, is the township there. I would have my AR-15s out on the front porch with my Mo1 Abe and my Don't Tread on Me flag flying, and when they come to take them,
I'll be standing right there with you, Brother Coots. I'll be right there with you, because I would rather die for a reason than to die of something stupid. But Henry just wrote, Dave, and normally we don't talk about this on this show, but he just wrote that he agrees, Donald and I agree with you and Dave 110%. You guys are right on the money. I don't know what part, Henry, but I'm glad you do agree with us. But Dave, for some reason, Vladimir Putin has invited North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un to Russia in September. Now, Kim's going to be meeting President Trump in Singapore on June 12th. I just hope Putin isn't up to something. It sounds sounds a little fishy, Dave, to me.
Well, but think about it like this. I think if you look at it, I mean, North Korea and Russia probably met in private before, and we've not known about it. But once again, Trump, our president, is setting the tone for the world. He is a leader. That's what leaders do. They lead from the front. So now, since he's announced this with North Korea, you've got Putin. You've also got Assad, who is wanting to meet with North Korea. These people, they've had years to do this, and they've never done it until now. Our president, President Trump, Mr. Trump, has decided to do this. So he is setting a stage. He's out front. He's leading. That's what true leaders do. That's something that we haven't seen in the past 8 years. So I mean, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Well, yet to be seen. I mean, can we trust North Korea? Probably not. He's a fascist dictator who kills his own family to stay in power. So, I mean, somebody like that, you really can't trust them. But I'd like to give a shout out to Sheila too. She commented on the page. She said, "Great show. You two are so great, Donald." So thanks, Sheila. We appreciate it. Our motto is we're trying to change the country one show at a time, guys.
Well, so Dave, I wouldn't have another. I don't think I would have another host on here besides you. You think the way I do, or I think the way you do, vice versa. But everybody out there listening, me and Dave, we talk a lot through the week. Dave's a truck driver, and he drives long hours, let me tell you. And we do a lot of talking through the week. And Dave has taught me a lot, especially about states' rights and how the government wasn't supposed to be as big as it was. And that's what the liberals want. They want big government. I'm a conservative, not just because I believe in every Republican. That's why the primaries were so important, to weed out the bad Republicans. Not all Republicans are good. But Dave, I don't even know what the Democratic Party stands for anymore. I really don't. They've lost their patriotism. They don't even care about our flag. Some of them don't anymore. And I can't say all of them don't. I'm just saying some of those left-wingers, those far left, socialist, communist ones.
What I call them libtards. But I mean, the thing is, and we've talked about this before too, Donald. If you look back, the Democratic Party is not what it used to be. It used to be those blue dog Democrats. They took pride in country. They weren't anti-Second Amendment. They believed you had the right to self-defense. They were actually for the working man. And somewhere along the line, they went so far left that they're socialists now. So the working man becomes the entitled man. We're not entitled to anything, guys. Nothing in this world is free. If you want it, you have to get off your butt, you have to go out, and you have to earn it. You have to put in the blood, sweat, and tears to make it happen. This is a news flash. If you're a liberal and you're listening to this radio show, which I highly doubt, but in this world, nobody is going to give you anything. If you want it, you have to get off your butt, and you have to earn it.
Well, Dave, I think I can quote a Democratic president, John F. Kennedy. Wasn't it his famous line? He said, "It's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country," or something like that.
That's absolutely correct.
Now, it's true. I mean, that's basically what you're saying, right?
Absolutely. That's what it's about.
They've lost it, though, Dave. Everybody's lost that feeling about this country. They feel like they're entitled, daggone it. They're not entitled.
And it goes back to having the Gay Pride Month. You know what? Instead of having a Gay Pride Month, have a Gay Pride Year, where not only are you proud to be gay, but you're proud to be American. How about that?
But yeah. Well, when I was young, gay used to mean happy, but and they used to hide it when I was young, and now it seems like it's a cool thing to be gay. I don't know. I'm not judging anybody for their sexual preference, but no, they don't need a whole month to just say they're gay. That's unbelievable. That's some more stuff that I'll call hogwash. It's hogwash.
It is. I'd like to give a shout out to Greg tonight. Greg's listening. Greg, thanks for listening, brother.
Greg Medlin? Oh, he's
Medlin,
cool.
yeah.
He's cool if I say his name. He's a good guy. He's from down there, I think, North Carolina. He's a country boy. And Dave, you're a country boy. You was born in the mountains. I can say that. Now, everybody out there listening, I'll tell you really quick about Mr. Coots here. This guy, now he makes, Dave, I hope you don't get mad at me, but Dave makes about $300,000 a year. I don't know, with it after taxes and stuff, and his expenses probably less. But this man, Dave Coots, he came from the hills of Kentucky. He lived on a dirt floor. He was poor. You know what he did? He got out and he made it. He made it on his own. He is what he is today because he said he wasn't going to sit around and depend on the government. He made his own life, and that's what America's about, right, Dave?
It is. That you have to get out. My dad used to. There's a saying that my dad used to always tell me, and it is: if you always do what you've always done, you'll always be what you've always been.
Well, just like Aaron Tippin says in the song, you got to stand for something, brother, or you'll fall for anything. And we got to start standing up. Like you said at the beginning of the show, and you've always said, we've got to get this conservative party energized. We've got to break down some more blue walls, Dave. We've got to keep our freedom safe. We've got to protect the Constitution. It all boils down to preserving our freedoms, Dave. And they're breaking it apart right now. All right, Dave, we just got to wrap up. I'm going to let you go ahead and end the show, brother.
All right, guys. We first of all, we want to thank all you guys for listening. We want to send a shout out to the troops. Like we always end it. Whether you're overseas or you're stationed here at home, guys, we want you guys to know that we love you, that we're praying for you, that we think about you, and that we're thankful. And we know that because of your sacrifices, that we're free. And God bless you.
And we're not going to take it. Yes. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.